going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to another one. Michael Irvin has spoken on this past NFL draft and the $40 million robbery. That's what we watched. We watched the kid lose $40 million, and the playmaker has spoken. So we're going to listen to the playmaker because I agree with everything the playmaker, Michael Irvin. If you don't know who Michael Irvin is, he's a NFL Hall of Famer, and he played with the Dallas Cowboys. He also played with Coach Prime, um, and we know him as the playmaker. Now, even he said Shedeur, he got robbed. It's one thing to teach him a lesson, but damn, you guys sat up there and robbed him. And then also, he pointed out that he was the last quarterback. Well, he said he was the last quarterback to get taken in the draft. Actually, no, that's not true. It was Quinn Ewers from Texas. And in my mind, I feel bad for Quinn Ewers too, because he was not supposed to be taken that late. I mean, this guy, first of all, if he was good enough to be on the NCAA football game, if he's good enough, why was he taken that late in the draft? That's why he was looking the way he was looking. Quinn Ewers was looking how he was looking. He was pissed. So hopefully I'm champion for Quinn Ewers too. So Quinn Ewers, I hope he do well in the NFL as well to shut people up, because they got him at a discount as well. I mean, he was on the cover of the NCAA game, man. So obviously he's good. He's good enough, and he didn't do so. He didn't do so bad at Texas, at a program like Texas. Yeah, they had Arch Manning there, waiting in the wings, but Quinn Ewers, he didn't do so bad either. And for him to get taken so late, I mean, a punter got drafted before Quinn Ewers, a damn punter. So yeah, that was a travesty as well. So yeah, I'm equal all the way down the board. And he was looking pissed. He was pissed the whole time. Like, either he got some misinformation, because I believe he was supposed to be taken earlier. But anyway, that's Quinn Ewers. And I'm not sure why they didn't pick up Isaiah Bond. He didn't even get drafted. Like, on top of, he didn't even get drafted, so he's undrafted free agent. So let's listen to the playmaker, Michael Irvin, man.
After they drafted a quarterback prior to, I don't want to mention his name either. I want to be careful. I said earlier, when I was addressing Shedeur Sanders, that I'm not going to be bringing in other quarterbacks that are being drafted. I don't want my spit, words that are coming out of my mouth, to touch them in their happy day of being drafted. But in order to share the crime, the $40 million robbery that just took place of Shedeur Sanders, or should I say, I think the crime, the $50 million robbery.
It was a $50 million robbery that we witnessed. And I looked at his pay scale for this year coming up. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. He's the best quarterback in the draft. It's purely disgusting. And you know how I feel about the NFL. I don't like the NFL. I don't follow the Jets no more. I don't like the NFL. But yeah, I do want to see the young men do well. But I just don't like the whole process of the NFL. Oh, look at his attributes. Oh, look at this one. I'm about to get him. He has a 40-inch vertical. He's a stud. Um, he has thick calves. Look at his thighs. He runs the 40 in whatever many seconds. And I remember Jerry Jones. He was sitting there because Jamie Foxx was recording it, and he just happened to mention somebody's penis size. It's like a damn auction, if you ask me. It's a glorified auction. That's what it is. I'm not gonna say what type of auction, but it's a glorified auction, nevertheless, because it's always designed for these players to go broke anyway. It's designed. It's an auction, but to do up, but so a lot of the players have smartened up and they're smart about their money. But what I'm saying is, it's an auction, nevertheless. They own you. They have a contract on you. Um, yes, I know some of the kids are very happy to get drafted, and because, like I said, go take the money. That's what I'm all about. The hell with the Super Bowl. Like, because if it was me, I would say all the right things, even though I'm lying. Oh, I just want to win a Super Bowl for this team. I can't wait to give it my all. And no, what I want to say is I'm gonna give it my all until I get a Russell Wilson contract. And then once I make sure some of the stuff is guaranteed, I'll play a little bit for another couple years. And the next thing you know, I'll start stinking up the joint. Because I'm not trying to sit there and play for 10 years. I'm trying to get as much money as I can get and get the hell out of there and go do something else and start a business or start a business while I'm in the NFL. They make sure that they keep everything under control because when Caleb Williams got drafted, he wanted to do it a little differently. He wanted them to pay his LLC. He didn't want himself to per se to get paid. He wanted his company he wanted them to pay his company. They said no. And he also, I believe, he wanted a percentage of the team. They said no. So they're not going to give you a percentage of the team. They're not even going to do that. As great as Tom Brady is, they gave him a minority stake in the team. They don't get. It's not set up for players to have ownership. It's not set up because we as a collective, we don't band together and demand that stuff get changed by way of our spending money. We don't do that yet. But when we do that, then yes, then things, I don't know, things may change. But right now, people are just so happy to get drafted. I'm happy for the kids that did get drafted. But I'm looking at the bigger picture here. It's been like this. I remember I lived in a time where they were questioning whether the black quarterback was smart enough to play the position. They used to give you these stupid ass IQ tests that has nothing to do with football, just to see, that in these IQ tests, we know that the IQ tests are biased. If you do your history on these IQ tests, and who invented the IQ test, it was biased. It was rigged, actually. We know we know we're like the smartest beings on the fucking planet because we invented everything. The father of medicine is Imhotep. That's the father of modern medicine. We all know this. So, yes, my commentary has changed a little bit because I have to be real here. Yes, all I want to do, I don't care about no Super Bowls. Because as far as I'm concerned, the world sport is soccer anyway. The World Cup is the only thing that matters. The Super Bowl don't fucking matter. It only matters to people here. But the World Cup is the one that matters, as far as I'm concerned. Like if I want to pick a sport, the Super Bowl is nothing compared to the whole world. They trying to make it a world sport because you remember at the draft they had people from other countries announcing players, so they're trying to always gain interest out there. But the world sport is soccer. They're not going to compete with soccer whatsoever. There's not one football player that's more famous than Cristiano Ronaldo. Not one. Not one. He's known the world over. The Brazilian Ronaldo is known the world over. Pele is known the world over. Okay? So I'm just putting that in perspective. But it was a robbery. That's what it was. And I'm not, like Michael Irvin said, I'm not hating on the Browns because they got him at a discount. He was still there. And then I don't like how the general manager now, I don't like the general manager there now. Because I sat there and listened to his press conference and his interview. You could tell he's lying. You could tell he's lying. He said, well, when we selected Shedeur, Shedeur, I don't even like how you say his name. When we selected Shedeur, when we selected Shedeur, We wanted to optimize the best available at that time. He's been the best available since Travis Hunter got drafted. What you mean? He was the best available when Travis Hunter got drafted. Mr. Shedeur. Mr. Shedeur, honey. Mr. Sh let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop because I don't want to turn this into a roasting session. Mr. Shedeur. The hell they get you at? Where the hell they get you at? But anyway, he said when he was on the board, they needed the best player available. Sir, when you pick the first time, he was the best player available. So that don't make no sense. It don't make any sense. The reason why he was the best available because the NFL showed it that he was the best available at the time. This dude is walking an imaginary dog. He don't know that I see him. I got a real dark tint on my car. He inching closer over there. Well, he keep walking his imaginary dog now. Yeah, so I'm in the cut, and he don't know that I can really see him. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so he was the best available since Cam Ward and Travis Hunter got drafted. Because when a team selects, it shows the best people available. His name was listed the entire draft. But and then he said, "Well, I told him it doesn't matter where you get drafted." I told him this. It doesn't matter where you get drafted as long as you get the opportunity. As long as you get the opportunity. No, sir, it does matter where you get drafted. Travis about to get 30, $40 million over 4 years. Cam Ward the same way. It does matter. You know that boy was working out with Cam Ward. They have the same quarterback coach. You know what he could do. They all know what he could do. It was a robbery. I'm going to keep talking about it because what they did was wrong. Even though me talking about it ain't going to change nothing. But I'm going to sit up here and roast them every chance I get. Every time I feel like I want to roast the NFL and these stupid ass general managers, I'll do that. I'll do it. But he's on my list right now. Oh, and by the way, yes, they did find out who prank called Shedeur, and he prank called a few other people too, and they tried to prank call Shiloh. I didn't know that. So he apologized. He said, "Well, he said, I hope you can forgive me, because people make mistakes, and this is my mistake." That's what he said. What kind of fucking apology is that? That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a mistake. You meant to do it. That wasn't a mistake. You didn't make no mistake. It just by accident call Monsieur, but you just made a mistake and called Shedeur. You did it. You made a bad decision. But nothing. I knew nothing was gonna happen. I knew nothing was gonna happen. Nothing was gonna happen to the defensive coordinator. You know, the NFL got to look good. We're looking into it. We're doing an investigation. Y'all investigating for what? Y'all ain't gonna do anything. Investigating what? And then he said, well, how he got the number. His iPad was laying on the table, and his son went over there and copied down the numbers on the iPad. That's bullshit, man. I don't believe that. I was born during the day, but just not yesterday. Okay? I was born during the day, but just not yesterday. He's just gonna sit here and keep staring at me, yo, walking this imaginary dog, yo. I got the Second Amendment in my car, so it's all good. But I'm looking at him. He looking dead at me too. Something wrong with him. He don't know I can see him though. It's crazy. This world crazy, man. But yeah, so nothing happened. So we knew nothing was gonna happen. Um, yeah, so we knew nothing was gonna happen right there. And like I said again, man, shout out to Quinn Ewers, man, because he should have got picked up way before that. He should have got if he was on the NCAA game. Is he garbage now? Is he all of a sudden garbage? You know what? If they were going to do something right, because I knew they weren't going to pick Shedeur. If they were going to do something, they should at least drafted Quinn Ewers in place of that other dude that I never even heard of. The one that was stinking it up at the NFL Combine. He couldn't even throw halfway. He couldn't even throw a lick at the NFL Combine. If they were going to do something, at least put Quinn Ewers in his place. At least. I would have felt a little better about that because at least he was on a cover the game with Travis. At least I would have felt better about Quinn than the other dude. Now, whoever drafted that dude, I can't wait to see y'all record. I can't wait. Because y'all drafted him and y'all have to pay him over $2 million. Over $3-4 million from that in that draft position. But they don't care about that. But I would have felt a little better if they had drafted Quinn in that place. I forget where he went. I forget. I gotta find out. All his highlight reels are bad. All his highlight. I don't know how the hell that was just a stick up a middle finger with Coach Prime. That's what they were doing. And a lot of stuff they didn't like. I'm gonna tell you something that they didn't like. They didn't like that he retired Shedeur's number. They didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. They just didn't like their whole getup. I'm just telling y'all this. I'm being real. They didn't like their whole getup. Okay? They didn't like, and remember when he had first came to Colorado and he let all those players go? They didn't like that either. They didn't like that either, man. So they been had it out for him. He been had it out. And he knows that. Because before the draft, he said he getting prepared for the bull jump. So he knew what was coming. He knew it. The devil was at work. He was right. Because they were coming. They were coming to try to collect, man. But I'm telling you guys this, right? Now, shout out to whoever made that meme. There's a meme going around with Deshaun Jackson and Shedeur at a damn I forget what movie it was with Chris Tucker when he was at the massage parlor. They had them. That shit was hilarious, yo. They changed their face to Deshaun Jackson and Shedeur. Deshaun Jackson showing Shedeur around. It was hilarious. But anyway, um, be careful, Shedeur. You know Deshaun. You know how he getting. Let me stop Deshaun. I ain't gonna clown him. But he's in a position to where, remember this, guys, because they said, well, we don't know he said, we don't know what's going to happen. So they said, you got 5 quarterbacks, maybe 6. Yeah, but we're just going to see what happens. We're going to see, because they're going to have to compete. So we're going to see what happens and who wins it out. See, they're setting it up for this. They're going to eventually play Shedeur because he's putting butts in the seat. That's why. He's filling up that arena. So eventually they're gonna have to play him. I just don't know. I don't know when in the season that he's gonna play. But at some point he's gonna play. I just don't know when. Then some people seem to think that, well, they played us because everybody watched the entire draft all the way through. Um there's a couple scenarios going on out here right now. Some people seem to think it was a play for the ratings. It was a play. They knew he was going to go to the Browns the whole time. That's what they were saying. They saying that the Browns knew they were going to take him the whole time, but the NFL set it up because he's very popular. Let's face it, Colorado was the #1 team people were talking about. They keep talking about it. They follow the camera. Everybody they talking about Travis. So they're saying that they drafted him so late so we can watch the whole damn draft. And then we watched it all the way through to see if Shiloh was going to get picked up because he was on Twitch. We were waiting. Well, I watched it all the way to the last pick. I couldn't believe I did that. I watched it all the way to the last pick. They said this was the most rated draft in NFL history. Do y'all know that? And that was because of Shedeur. This was the most watched NFL draft. They said rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6 was the most watched rounds in NFL history. And they had the advertising and remember Shedeur had that commercial, that ill commercial where he was throwing the bullseyes with the football. He had the best commercials. I said, wait a minute, what's going on here, man? And they said what's going to happen is they said he's going to make his money back. That $40 million that he missed, he going to get it right back in endorsements ASAP. They're going to make sure he get it back. That's what they were saying. So they saying that at some point, they got to make it look good, though. So at some point in the season, he is the starter. He's the starter. They said that. They said they had to use him for these ratings because the NFL is hurting. That's what they're saying. So I said, okay, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind and see what happens. And then somebody told me, they said he's getting ready to be on a whole lot of commercials. They said, you think Travis is going to be on a lot of commercials? They said he's going to be in a lot of commercials. They use this kid for these ratings. But the Browns knew the whole time they were going to get him. The whole time. So I said, okay, that make a little bit of sense. That make a little bit of sense because their ratings were through the fucking roof. Everybody was talking about, because I'm like, where are all these people coming from on Facebook? I was surprised. Everybody was interested in this draft. A friend of mine, I don't even think she watched college football like that. She was like, I'm watching this all the way through. I want these boys to get drafted. And I'm like, damn, they command that much attention. Let me tell you something. The marketing, what Coach Prime did, his marketing is genius. Colorado is the most talked about football program, and they're going to be the most talked about football program next season because now they want to see what Coach Prime going to do without Shedeur, Shiloh, and Travis. They want to see what's going to happen, so they're going to be talked about some more. Okay, they're going to be talked about some more, and so yeah, and so if like when Shiloh went on Twitch, everybody was watching. A lot of my friends I didn't even think watch football was watching. There's a friend of mine, he didn't know nothing too much about Shedeur Sanders. He used to watch my videos. That's how he used to know. But he wasn't really like tapped in like that. He was tapped in to this draft to see where Shedeur was going. He was tapped in. And he's mad that the Giants didn't get him. So this guy on TikTok said, this older guy, he said, wait a minute, I smell a rat here. He said, all of us was watching. He was watching. He said, I was watching to see where Shedeur goes. I was waiting. And if you notice, when he got drafted to the Browns, you see how the fans reacted? They were ecstatic when they finally got him. They did not cheer like that for Dylan Gabriel. I suspect Dylan Gabriel's going to get traded. I suspect Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco on the way out. But he's the top dog right now, but he's still on the way out. But so I think Dylan Gabriel, there's no way they traded Shedeur. They're not going to trade him. But then they had to say to him again, this is why I think they still were trying to humble him, because he was like, we're not promising you anything. And then the guy said, that Shedeur wasn't even upset the whole time? He said, because maybe he knew what was going on. I said, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But he said eventually, at some point in the season, maybe it's week 3 or week 2 or whatever, the fans going to be calling and chanting his name, and they're going to set it up for like some like storybook situation, because he's going to come in and start winning. You already know that. He's a winner. He wins everywhere he goes. He don't know nothing about losing. So he's going to find a way for the Browns to start winning. And then he said that they're going to use Dylan Gabriel and another quarterback to bring in some more reinforcements to help Shedeur. That's what they said. They said the whole time they wanted him. This was a setup for ratings. So I don't know. But let's continue with Michael Irvin. But that's a good thought, though. I have to keep that in the back of my mind. But let's see what Michael Irvin's saying.
Of Shedeur Sanders. Because that's what I just witnessed. And that's wow. I said a couple weeks ago, when I was talking to you guys right here in the locker room, I talked about LeBron James and how much I appreciate how much he helped his son use his power, use his name to help his son. And yes, nepotism, but it's in every aspect of this world, nepotism. And certainly littered throughout football, every and anywhere you look, nepotism. Coaches bringing their sons in, the sons now being coordinators, or the sons becoming head coaches. In every way, Dion shook the system. In every way, Dion shook the system. Bypassed all of those systems that they have put in place to make sure they keep who they need on top. Dion went another route, and he's gotten the big.
Oh, let me say this real quick. The guy also pointed out, this guy on TikTok, I got to find the link. He said when Shedeur was getting ready to get drafted, he said all these cameras came on stage. And he said that did not happen for anybody else that was being picked late. He said all these cameras, all the pomp and circumstance came on stage when the acting commissioner announced his name. They said they were preparing for it. So they already knew. They said it was like his they were showing his highlights and all that. They said they didn't do that for anybody else. It was almost like it was round one. And also it was almost like it was round one way the crowd was reacting. The way the dog pound started reacting when they found out they got him. So I don't know if they set it up, but I know that this NFL draft, the later rounds, was the most watched in NFL history since they started doing it in 1975. It's the most watched ever. And they got money off those commercials. Most watched ever. And it's all because of Shedeur. This kid's a superstar. That means he's superstar status already. For all those people that really didn't watch him play, right? But they watched to see him get, that's like superstar status. He's damn near a superstar already. And just the way he act, he do the watch and all that, the crowd loves that. That's like he's a superstar. He's like, it's like a young superstar in the making. And for this to happen to him, something is not right. That's why people saying something went wrong here. Like, wait a minute now. Something went wrong because he was giving the wrong information because he didn't have to work out at the combine. If he knew this, he probably would have worked out at the combine. He didn't have to work out at the combine because most top quarterbacks, they don't work out at the combine. They work out at their pro days. It's been going on like that for the past 10 years or more. And then they'll keep using that. Well, his dad said he didn't want him to go here and want him to go there, but Arch Manning said the same thing. That didn't hurt Eli Manning. So it don't matter. But he still was supposed to go in the first round, but they're saying that he's gonna quickly make it back in endorsements. He's gonna make that $40 million back easy if he ain't got it already. So let's continue with Michael Irvin.
Head coach. He took his sons with him. And he raised his sons right and did a great job raising his sons. Just like I said, LeBron did a great job raising his son. And with all...
My friend ordered the...
With all the absentee African-American fathers that we have had, say the numbers, I can only go by what I read or get because I can't go out there and count everybody because every time I say these numbers, they say, what, Michael, those numbers?
Oh, I always get calls from online. All right, here we go. I'm back.
And I can believe that. What I see now, a lot of information we've been getting forever has been wrong. But I also hear enough from friends that I have about fathers not being in their lives. So we are all real sensitive, and we have high heightened awareness when we see a father and son carefully put together and doing great things together, especially in our community. I was happy for LeBron. But I told y'all with the LeBron and Stephen A thing that LeBron had done a wonderful job. Now it's time to let his son go prove to the world how wonderful of a job he's done. And there's certain things you can't protect your son against. And now he's in the NBA, people are going to talk about it. The Shedeur Sanders situation is similar. Except LeBron, in the place he was in, was able to exert his influence to help his son. And Dion, the place he was in, he had done all he could do to help his son. Now, I don't know if somehow Dion would have hopped over to the NFL. Maybe he could have done more on that side. But I don't think Dion needed to do anything more to get Shedeur Sanders drafted. Everywhere we've seen, everything we've seen, everybody that has seen him play said he is the one or two in this draft. One or two in this draft class. And the truth of the matter is, for Shedeur not to go 1 or 2, 3 or 4, but in the 5th round, and after all the quarterbacks, after 5 quarterbacks.
No, Quinn Ewers got drafted last. He was the last quarterback to get drafted.
That's mind-blowing. And I said it last time, and I got to say it again. That math ain't mathing. And you can tell me what you want to tell me, you can say what you want to say, you can talk like you want to talk. But that math won't ever math. Now here comes the real thrill of this whole story. Just like running, Shedeur now is in a place where Dion can't go. And Dion can't protect. I loved Cleveland picking this kid early on. But I can't be mad at Cleveland if they played the cards and picked him up in the 5th round and saved $50 million. Maybe in their minds, they figured they tricked off that money to Deshaun, so they got to trick it back off of Shedeur. You can't be mad at them because he was still there in the 5th round. But I surely would like to know how they knew he would still be there in the 5th round. I surely would like to know, with the value placed on quarterbacks, I don't care if you had a star quarterback, if you have a Patrick Mahomes, anybody, you don't leave this kind of talent in the draft. You would take a quarterback and say, let me just hold him, somebody get a quarterback hurt. I can take him in the 3rd or 4th round. I could have taken him in the 3rd or 4th round, and I guarantee you, right now, if everybody's working together because we want to teach them a lesson, that's one thing. But somebody goes down in week 1 or in the preseason, and the kid coach's job is on the line, he didn't make it a damn phone call. Can I get that quarterback, please? I'll give you something for him. You know, so the value of quarterbacks, even if you had a quarterback, and once I get that 3rd, 4th round, I'm going to take a guy anyway. And nobody did. Nobody did. So it's a lot on this plate and a lot that we have to try.
That's why we thinking it's set up, because he's right about that. That's how the draft is set up. Like, all the good quarterbacks they're taking in the first round to the second round, right? Because some offensive linemen gonna come off the board, defensive linemen, they're gonna come off the board. So mostly like the people that need quarterbacks, they're gonna come off the first and second round. When you get past that third round, those are backups. Those are the backup rounds. Those are not the superstar rounds. Or those are the superstar rounds that are made like we don't know what a person gonna do when he get in the NFL. Like those kind of rounds, like a Brady. We didn't know that he was gonna do that. However, Shedeur had a better draft grade than Tom Brady at that particular point in time and at that level. He had a better draft rating. All the experts had him going no later than the second round. Everybody did. Most Mel Kiper and all them, they had him in the first round to the Giants or whatever, or the Raiders or the Giants or the Browns. So everybody had him drafted high, and you could see his body of work. Because your eyes don't lie to you. If you watched him play football, you know he's a quality quarterback. He can play. He can play the game. It's not that his dad was there. No, he can actually play. Because I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm real. Okay, yeah, he did get the starting position because of his dad. Nah, man, he could play. He could really spin that ball. And then they tried to come up with this whole thing with an attitude problem. That's how I knew. I was like, okay, they getting ready to show him. They getting ready to, as they say, try to humble him. Because they got to try to humble us. You know where that goes back to? Let me go back for a minute with the humbling situation. Let me give you a little bit of history here. So, you remember Jack Johnson, the boxer? Maybe some of you don't know him, but Jack Johnson, he used to talk shit at when he beating their ass. He used to talk shit. He was like before his time, yo. He used to talk shit and everything. And he was the heavyweight champion of the world, and they were looking for a great white hope to come in. And then finally, at the end of his career, and they beat him, and then they got the great white hope. But for a long time after him, they didn't have a black heavyweight champion for a very long time because a lot of the white boxers didn't want to fight black boxers. They didn't want to. So Joe Louis came along. They told Joe Louis, not Joe. They told Joe Louis when he came along, because he came along after he was the next great black heavyweight champion after Jack Johnson. When Joe Louis came along, they told him there's a few things that you cannot do. You cannot celebrate after a win. You have to stay humble. You have to just go in the corner and you go research. You don't believe me. You have to go stay in the corner and be quiet after a victory. We don't want you celebrating in our face. Okay, so you have to do that, and also you cannot publicly date white women. You could date them, but you can't publicly date them like Jack Johnson did. This is the contract that he had to sign. Y'all know that? This is how they treat us. And he agreed to it. He agreed to it, but he whooped their ass. He sure did. When in Joe Louis's prime, there was no beating Joe Louis at his prime. He was beautiful. He was marvelous. You couldn't beat him in his prime. I mean, he won and lost some, but at the top of his game, it was no beating Joe Louis. It was no beating him. There's no beating the Brown Bomber, yo. He's buried in Arlington National Cemetery, by the way. I went to go see his grave when I was a kid. There's no beating him at his prime. No beating him. It was no beating Jack Johnson at his prime, but they suffered through Jack Johnson because he was braggadocio, but he could back it up. He was well spoken, and back then it was illegal to date outside your race, and he not only that, he married her. So then they came up with the Mann Act and locked him up because they're talking about he was bringing women across state lines for the purposes of sex, and they locked him up. He didn't do nothing wrong. But later on, after all these years has passed, they had to wait till Donald Trump to pardon him. He got pardoned by Donald Trump his first term. We have not. Some of us are on. Let me tell you why the system is just real still fucked up. I am only one generation. I'm only one generation removed from Jim Crow. Me personally. That's how it wasn't even that long ago. I'm one generation removed from white only. Do y'all know the difference between black only? No. Do y'all know the difference between colored only and Negro only? There's a difference. Did y'all know that? But anyway, go look it up, yo. It's a difference. They had white only, they had colored only, and Negro only. They had three signs, and they all meant something. Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm just thinking about that because my mother had to go through that. I'm just thinking about that. And one time we had a moment. One time we were at the family reunion. We had to go to the train station to pick up somebody. My mother said, "You see that section right there?" She said, "I said, yeah." She said that was the white only section. And you know what she told me? The sign's still there. I said, "Mom, you kidding me?" She said, "It's still there. They painted over it. Go look. You could faintly still see it. I kid you not. It's still there." But a lot of people can't, they don't know it's there, but you have to know where to look for it. All the people her age know it's still there. Like they painted over it, but if you go look closely, it says white only. Still to this day. Even still to this day, they got sundown towns. Even in this country, still to this day. It's called sundown towns. One of the originals were in New Jersey. Original sundown towns. Meaning, remember, some of us my age when we were younger, they said you better come in the house before them lights come on. That was the reason. We just didn't know it because that's when they kidnapped people and lynch you back then. So we're not. This happened in my mother's childhood, and slavery lasted for approximately 460 years. After the Emancipation Proclamation, even though it still didn't end then, because they celebrate that stupid ass Juneteenth, I don't celebrate it because what you're really doing is you're glorifying people that didn't realize that they weren't slaves no more. It's a joke. So I don't celebrate it. But after everything was all said and done, up until now, it still hasn't been 460 years removed yet. My theory is we have to be 460 years removed before things really start to reverse around. But I honestly think in this world, it's going to be a shift soon. We just don't know what in the timeline where that shift is coming. I don't know where the shift is coming, but I think it's a shift coming because I think that this society we in, this world we in, is a simulation. But there's some greater Senate looking over us or something. Something's going to flip around eventually. That's what I believe. Or maybe that's just my mind making me trying to just making my mind telling me that things are going to get better. I don't know. I'm a glass half full type of person anyway. But you got to understand the way these people operate. The other people, the way they operate, they still have not recovered either from what happened in this country and all over the world. They still have not recovered. They still low down think that's what we are. We're here to entertain them. But the moment we have a voice, they chastise our athletes and entertainers um, in the media when they have a voice and when they're sure of themselves. It's almost like they're emasculating you, but they're not really doing it. They don't do breaking the buck no more, but they do it another way. So I just can't. I have to be honest for now, and I just have to be honest because I have young people listening to me. I want them to be educated on this bullshit, on what happened. Because a lot of them are, though. They just don't talk about it. A lot of young people are. They know what happened. Did you know I got so woke that I couldn't even work my job no more, yo? I got that woke. I said, I'm not working. I'm not making these MFers rich no more. I quit. After 20 years, I retired myself. I quit. because I don't even like your disposition. Like I'm like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not this super overly militant person, but I'm armed and I know what happened to us. I know. And I also know that stuff don't happen to people that's not great. I know. Did you know this guy just recently came out and explained to people how HIV spread in the continent of Africa? He said it was through the inoculations. It was through the inoculations they spread it through that purposely to try to kill him. They try to wipe him off the planet. He just recently came out and said this. That's how it spread it through the inoculations, the vaccines. He just said it. And it almost happened in history already. They tried to wipe out a race in history already. It happened in Australia with the Aborigines. They really tried to literally wipe them off, but they didn't though. Some of them still survived. They survived it. But that's what they tried to do. Because prior to that, Australia looked like Africa. It did prior to them coming and over there settling. It looked like Africa over there. So this is what happened in a short time ago in history. So that you got to understand how these people think about us. They don't see us as human. They see us only to entertain and make them laugh. That's it. It happened on my channel. These people came on my channel and said, "Well, Max, we don't like your commentary." Yeah, because you want to be entertained. But when I sit up here and really start cooking, you get offended because in your DNA, it's in your DNA, just like it's in my DNA. What happened to us? It's in your DNA too. Your people are really fucked up, and I'm going to tell you about it. You are. You are. And I'm going to tell you. So, and sometime I'll talk sports, sometime I'll talk about whatever, but every now and then if something pisses me off, yeah, I'm armed with history, so I'm going to tell you why they did this to him. Why they don't like confident melanated people. They don't like it because they don't want it to spread. That's why. They don't want it to spread. Shedeur is confident. They know that others are confident, but like it's the Joe Louis rule. I call it the Joe Louis rule. We don't want you to celebrate and act all braggadocio in public. This is why this happens. The reason why they're so insecure when we're so confident because they're incomplete, and they know this. They're incomplete, and they know this. They're incomplete, and they know it. So, like I said, this is why if you need an explanation on why stuff like this happens, well, the man is in his children's life. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with him being in his children's life? Because they don't want that being promoted. That's why. They don't want a strong, melanated person that's very articulate. They don't want that spreading around, so they emasculate him in front of everybody. This time they didn't emasculate him, though. They didn't do it. He took the high road. They didn't emasculate him. It actually backfired on him. Because a lot of people are mad about it. And but we still want him to go take their money though. Please go take the money. Please go play football and please take their money. Take their money. Nothing will ever happen to them. They can do what they want, but when we do it, it's a problem. When Arch Manning said that Eli is not going to just play anywhere, he still got drafted in the first round. They can do it all day long. They can do it all day long. Okay? They can do it all day long, but we can't do it. So, like I said, I'm not saying all of them think like this, but a woman I work with, she's a little less melanated. You know what she told me? 90% of us are like that. She said, I'm telling you this. She said, I'm white and I know. She said, I said, damn, it ain't 50%. She said, no, it's 90% that don't like you. 90%. And she said, I'm saying this because I got family that's racist. She said it to me. She said it. She said, don't go around thinking life that everybody not like this. She said 90% are. She told me this. And she said it'll come out when they drunk or when they mad at you. She said, remember that. And she real. And I said, well, what makes you the exception? She said, because I had to consciously retrain myself on how I was taught. She told me this. That's what she told me. And she real too. She's like family to me. She is real. This woman, you would think this woman is like in her I don't want to say her name her age. That's disrespectful. But she's old enough to be my mother, put it this way. No, let me see, is she? Let me think. Yeah, if she had a baby at 18, 19, yeah, she old enough to be my mother. Listen to the same stuff I listen to. You wouldn't think so. Her kids don't act that way either because she consciously taught them. But their father's that way though. She's divorced him though, but he's that way. You know how they didn't think he was that way, right? But her rule came into effect when she said over 90% of that way. I was like, "What about your husband?" She said, "No, I don't. He's not that way." But she said he wasn't raised by my mother. You know, that's my ex-husband, but I don't think he's that way, or I wouldn't have married him. But guess what? She found out he is that way. So what happened was her daughter, her daughter was raised right. She don't see people like how not the other 90% see people, right? So she has a melanated boyfriend. And I said to her mother, I said, y'all gonna have some trouble. Because I knew her ex-husband was like that. Because my dad told me when people are like that, they give off an odor. They give off an odor. Um, and you can just tell by their energy that they're racist, right? I said, no, he's like that. She said, I don't really think he is. I was married to him. I should know. So one Thanksgiving, she finally introduced him to her new boy, her new man. This dude almost flipped a fucking wig when he saw him. He said, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" He would not shake his hand. He would not speak to him. And he went in the back room. It ruined their Thanksgiving. And you know who was there? Yours truly, me, because they invited me. He's cool with me. Why you think he cool with me? Because I'm not trying to fuck his daughters. Okay, I'm family. So that she was like, wait a minute. Well, why is he cool with you? She said, we're totally surprised. I said, because I'm not trying to fuck your daughter. That's why. And they just sit there. They looked at me and said, oh my God. He went in the back room. He would not talk to nobody. And I was, nobody was hungry. I'm the only one sitting up there eating. I'm the only one sitting, because I already knew he was like that. It's just that I'm not trying to get with his daughters. Right? So she said, Daddy, how could you, like, this is wrong. So she crying and wound up leaving and left with her boyfriend. He went out there, he said, don't you ever bring that N word around here ever again. Don't you ever do it. And now my eyes is like, what the fuck? He said that to you? She said, yeah, he said that to me. He didn't say it around me because I would have cussed his ass out. But that's what he said to her outside. So when I say 90% are like that, 90 motherfucking percent. And I don't care if you get offended because you're in the 90%. If you listening right now and you offended, you're not in that 10%. You in that 90%. You in that 90%. Okay? Because by birthright, that's how y'all was taught. And that's why this world is fucked up the way it is now, because of y'all. Okay? You guys created the ghettos. You created everything. Okay? You created the ghettos. You created everything fucked up in this world is because of you. Everything. So when y'all pray to y'all Jesus, right? When y'all pray to y'all white Jesus, when he come back, all y'all going to hell. Because y'all created hell on earth. That's why. Okay? I don't even know this kid. I never met Coach Prime. Never don't know this kid. But I am mad that he lost $40 million. I'm mad about it because he didn't do nothing wrong to lose $50 million, even though he's going to get it back in endorsements. Trust me, he is. He's a marketable kid. He's going to get it back. But I want him to get the $50 million in endorsements and the $50 million salary. I want him to have all of it, not just some of it. I want him to have the whole $100 million. Why? Because he's a good kid. He can help out the community. We need people like that. To go take the money from y'all and come back to the community with it. That's why. Yeah, listen, man. They know. Remember Coach Prom in his interviews, he said he's unapologetically himself. And you know how one sometime in his press conference, he said, we need more people like us up in here. Damn, they don't like that. They took notes of that. I'm telling y'all, they didn't forget none of that. They took notes. They know he's unapologetic. I know he is. I could tell by the way he moves. And he's a Leo, by the way, anyway. So you know he gotta bite his tongue on everything. He has to. That's why he looked worn out. He gotta bite his tongue. Because we don't bite our tongues. So I said to you, for now on in my commentary, I'm gonna be 100 motherfucking percent real. Because they got me shadow banned, so I'm gonna be 100% real, and I'm gonna tell it. Because I know history and I know how we got to where we are. Because a brother of mine from the Sudan, he was like, man, why are you? He said, now I realize why y'all the way y'all are here. The system was set up that way. I said, yeah. The playing field was never level. It was never level. And that was only a few years ago. It wasn't ever level. How so? After World War One and World War Two, when the GIs came home, the highly melanated GIs, they had that. Let's just take a highly melanated GI with great credit and the military benefits. He was denied certain property. They denied him. They redlined him and put him in what we call now the ghettos. But now they trying to move him out the ghettos because they want that real estate back. That's what happened. The wealth is in land. That's where people wealth lies. You know that? People wealth are in their property. We were denied wealth. And that wasn't that long ago. That was only 2 generations ago for me. So it takes a little bit for us to catch the fuck back up. That's why. But we are catching up. We are. But we don't control public policy. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? By way of our marketing dollars. And I mean, by way of our spending power. We don't have lobbyists in Washington like that. That's why things are still kind of inching in the right direction. Things are inching in the right direction, though. But I'm just saying why these people feel this way. Why, like, damn, what did Shedeur do? He too confident. That's why. It ain't a bad thing, right, to be too confident as a quarterback. They don't want you to be like that. They don't want your dad to say he's unapologetically. They don't want him to say that. That's why, because I'm just giving you the history on why. Let's continue with Michael Irvin.
To break down that happened. And this thing I told you ain't going anywhere for a while. Cleveland, let me tell you, I'm just going to say this. Because Cleveland had just drafted the quarterback ahead of him. Okay. And then when they came back around.
Yeah, stop right there. Why would they draft Shedeur and they drafted Dylan Gabriel? Because they wanted Shedeur, that's why. Because he's a better quarterback. That's why. That's why. That's why. Because you're like, damn, it don't make sense. They got 2 quarterbacks? Yeah, because Shedeur is who they really wanted. He's the superstar. Shedeur is the superstar. He the one that's going to put butts in them seats. That's why. That's why they got 2. But they still trying to humble him. Hey, Shedeur, yeah, we know you're going to be the man, but guess what? Nothing's promised to you. Okay, you're gonna have to work for everything. You're gonna have to be ready to come to work. Okay, you gotta be ready to come to work. I mean, did they say that to Travis that he's ready to come to work? No. That's how you know it's some bullshit. They just have to keep doing that. Make it look. They had to stay on code. We just be ready to come to work. Just be ready to come to work. Okay. Nothing's promised to you. Nothing's promised. And she's doing like, all right, whatever, yo, because he already know that the crowd gonna be calling for him. All right, I don't give a fuck what you saying. The crowd gonna be calling for him. I promise you this. That's what's funny about this. They can't cut him. They can't cut him because then the crowd gonna be like, what the fuck? If you cut Shedeur, y'all better hope y'all win the Super Bowl. If y'all cut him. If y'all go 0-3, them fans gonna be pissed. I already know the fans gonna be calling for him. I don't care if he the third string. They want perfect timing to come in. They want him to come in there. They want all the theatrics that he did at Colorado. They want that at the Dog Pound. I'm telling you, they do. I've been there before. I've been there in the '90s. I know how their fans are. They love a superstar, and they got one now. But they had to sit up there and rob him of $40-50 million. I don't care if he getting it back in endorsements. He should be getting that and the endorsements.
Cleveland was sitting in the room, and man, when they sent up the card, they showed the face people of Cleveland in Cleveland, and nobody was like, "We got them, we did it." I know it's in the fifth round, and you don't get that kind of excitement, but they were like, okay. I myself, who's not a conspiracy, not crazy about belief in conspiracies and all of that, started saying, whoa, does it look like somebody told them they have to get in there and draft Shedeur? I was wondering, why would you want to, if you're Cleveland, to bring that in? Do you know the kind of mess you have now? You got a Deshaun Watson situation.
Yeah, you got a mess because you got Deshaun Watson. You got Flacco there. You had Joe Flacco. Then you have Dylan Gabriel. Y'all gonna start losing. Y'all gonna start with Flacco. Y'all gonna start losing. And now you got a problem on your hands now because the fans are gonna start chanting Shedeur's name. So yeah, y'all got a problem. I don't care what he said. Yeah, get ready. Nothing is promised to you. You got to work for it. Bullshit. They saying that for the camera, yo. See, I have knowledge of self. I know how these devils work. They're lying. They're fucking lying. They use one of us to look like us to do that to him. They use one of us to do it. I wish I was that general man. I said, nah, yo, we drafted him in the first round, yo. He's a first rounder. You can just fire me then. You could just fire me, or I just don't agree with it. But you can just sit here and fire me. I walked off jobs before. That's just how I am. I'm my father's child. I'm not afraid of these devils. I want to call them something else, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I want to call them something else, but I'm not afraid of these devils. So that's why in corporate America, when I work, I didn't go to the top because I'm not there. I'm not going to show my teeth to these fucking devils. I'm not doing it. Okay, that's why I am where I am now. Okay, I got an education and all that, but I'm not trying to show my teeth to these devils. I'm not trying to do it because my dad taught me how to sniff them out. I could sniff somebody that's racist. I could sniff them out. They can smile in your face and everything. They have an odor to them. They have an odor to them. When you hateful like that to other people, you give off an energy and it's an odor to it. You have to be taught to know what this is. You have to be taught it. Somebody have to show it, peep it out to you. So I don't like these devils. So they use him to do it. That's why he was looking like that in his seat. He just drafted 2 quarterbacks, and you got a 19-year veteran, and you got Deshaun Watson you paid all that money to. You got a problem now. You have a problem because the fans don't give a damn how much you paid him. If he's not cutting the mustard, they're gonna start calling for Shedeur. So that's why I think he's hurt, by the way, anyway. I think he's hurt. So we talking about the 19-year veteran. If he start stinking up the joint and if y'all not at least 4-0 starting the season, they're going to start calling for number 2. That's for sure. He's too good for the game. He's too good of a person for the game. Him and Travis and them. I just hope they get all their money. All their money. I hope they get the kid from Jacksonville. I hope they get that kind of money. He don't made so much money. He don't made $70 million already and signed a max contract. Already made $70 million before that. Trevor Lawrence. I'm not counting his money. It's public record, actually. But I want them to get that kind of money. So that's why I say let them play and get all the money. And I love to hear stories how Russell Wilson took them to the cleaners. That tickles me. I like that. I like when he take them to the cleaners. Okay? I love it when he take them to the cleaners. I love it. I love it. Even when Trevor Lawrence did it, I love it. I love when they take them to the cleaners. Okay? No matter who it is. What's the one up there in Atlanta? He took them to the cleaners too. I love to hear stories like that. So, because now they getting paid damn near more than soccer players. Now they don't caught up. They getting paid now. I think the baseball players are still, they up there with the baseball players now. Because A-Rod Ben took the Yankees to the cleaners. He took them to the cleaners so bad that negative press was starting to come out about him. He took them to the Yankees still paying him. And he's been retired. They still owe him a check. So I love to hear that. But let's continue with Michael Irvin. I just went off today.
Flacco, all of this in your locker room. All of this in your quarterback room. 2 rookies. And all the time, everybody's going to be asking you, what's going on with Shedeur Sanders?
Yep.
What's going on with Shedeur Sanders?
Yep.
What's going on with Shedeur Sanders? Why would Cleveland do that? I'm not going to lie. I felt like, because when I'm watching the draft and I see the way they acted, I've done a mini drafts. I saw how everybody starts positioning and getting in place.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, this might be the pick.
Yeah.
No. They were telling people this was the pick. So they told all the cameras, everybody,
yep.
That's what it looked like. This is the pick. Here it is. Shedeur Sanders about to go off the board. Oh, really? I've been on that stage for years and years and years.
Yep.
emceeing the draft.
Yep, he was dead.
emceeing. The one telling you, next pick is in. The pick is in. Talking to the people. I started it.
Listen, what he's saying is, I watched the draft. Sometime I'll flip it on, and the 4th round is on. It said with the 100 and so blah 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 picks, the Carolina Panthers select such and such. People clap. They go to fucking commercial, man. It ain't no pomp and circumstances at that point. They just trying to get over it. Now it's boring. All right, with the 200 pick, New York Giants select such and such out of Toledo. Next commercial, Bob. Like that. When Shedeur was drafted, the pomp and circumstances fucking came, yo. There was cameras everywhere. They don't do that. That's how it was a setup.
I've never seen them position the cameras and give forewarning about who's about to be drafted.
Right.
So everybody can position themselves.
You know what they did? They literally recreated the first round in the fifth round. That's what they did. Aha, we got you. We got y'all. So maybe that's what they did. I don't know, but I still think they were trying to teach him a lesson. But yet they still wanted to use his name with the pomp and circumstances because they know people were waiting for that. Yeah, this some evil motherfuckers, man.
When I put what I saw in Cleveland and everybody positioned themselves,
them people make my skin itch. I get tired when I'm around these devils, man. I do. I get tired. I feel like they draining my energy or something. I get tired around, make my damn skin itch, man. I get tired. Let me stop.
I'm like, man, this thing here has reached peak high over the last few days. I wonder if Cleveland got a call from somebody in the NFL saying, we got to draft this kid, or something has to happen. Best and worst.
You know what? That could have been it too. Like, look, guys, now y'all the ones got to draft them. They're like, what? Y'all better draft them. I don't know.
Lift whatever dark spot we put on him, or something has to happen.
Yeah, because they did put a dark spot on it. Because we got to fix this now. Now we finished. We finished chastising them. Okay, draft them. Yeah, but we're not drafting them. Yeah, you are drafting them. We got Deshaun Watson. We got no draft them, and it's gonna work out where y'all at. Like, it's crazy shit what they've been doing. They know what they did.
Because Cleveland drafted him. And they're right. Something now has to happen. If you give him a chance to get on the field and he has all of this in him, what he just went through. Now you got to get, if he gets just an opportunity, you see going this late means you get so many few reps. And you got a quarterback drafted in front of you.
Right.
That means you're going to get less reps than him.
Right.
But also means if Shedeur happens to make a team and even though start this first year, that means you'll get a good year of prepping the number one defense. You know, you're a scout team quarterback. You'll play your first year. You'll go prep the number one defense. You won't even be running your own plays.
Yeah, that's what somebody else was saying. Another quarterback was saying. He said that it wasn't Trent Dilfer. It was the other guy. I forget. He looks like Trent Dilfer. He was saying he's not even going to get his reps. He's not even going to develop. They're not developing him at that round. They're developing Dylan Gabriel. Like, he's going to get all the reps. Shedeur's not getting all. They're not going to develop him. He's going to be on. He's for the practice squad. Okay, he's there to give them looks, but he's not there to develop. That's how they drafted him in the fifth round. He's not a starter, but the fans are going to be calling for him though. So they're in a really messed up position because how they going to do that to Dylan Gabriel? He got drafted before Shedeur. How they going to explain to him that he can't start over Shedeur? How they going to explain that? They might have to trade him. Or my last bit of logic, which is the worst of them all, they just doing that so they can have a reason to cut him. That's my last thing. I don't think they're gonna do that, but he's in the cuttable round. They can just cut you at training camp, and then just say to the media, "Well, he wasn't working out. He's not that good," or something. But I don't think that's gonna happen though, because he got too much star power, and they know that. They got to put them butts in the seat.
So when you'll be running the other team plays, but you'll be going up against the number one defense, and I've always thought that was a valuable time. And I'm just looking at long term for Shedeur, but the reality is, I'm sure his thoughts, and I'm sure his thoughts are should be this, and they should be this. His thoughts are, I'm going in here and be legendary. And let me say that too, since I mentioned that. I can't believe the number of people that are happy with watching this kid fall because he threw the watch thing up. Still different than game time. It's nothing. It's nothing. But you want to make that mean he's a bad dude or a bad person. We got all kinds of stuff, man. Y'all got to stop crazy stuff. Stop crazy stuff. I would receive it more if somebody put their name on it. When people say they interviewed poorly, I would receive it. If you thought he interviewed poorly, just say he interviewed poorly. But put your name on it. Don't say.
Yeah, put your name on it. Don't say an anonymous person said it. No, put your name on it. I guess because they know somebody like me is coming for him. I guess I'm coming for him because they, what I realized with these people, they watch these videos, but they be in the low with it, and it low key bothers them. They be watching on the low, especially when you put their name in the title. Maybe I need to start dropping names in the title. Drop that Atlanta coach name in the title. And just sit up here and call him a devil for 30 minutes. Maybe I should do that. But I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, so, okay, he put his watch up. Okay, big fucking deal, man. Big deal. He put his watch up. And I know them, and they don't like that, though. They don't like show off. They don't like nobody showing off and they don't like all that. They want you to be happy. I'm not really going to say it. Because now I'm going to get too real. I'm not going to say it. But they want you a certain way. They want you crying at the draft, thanking God that the owner saved you. That's what they want. They want to see that. They want to know that they saved you. That's what they want to see. They don't want to see somebody overly confident or straight up confident, not overly confident in their abilities. Like, I'm supposed to be here. You remember Shedeur said this wasn't supposed to happen. We know this wasn't supposed to happen. He still got the confidence. They didn't take that away from him. He born with that. This wasn't supposed to, he's right. That wasn't supposed to happen. But I'm like Trump. I don't really like the NFL. I think I'm with him. The owners are stupid. And I don't like neither one of them. I don't like Jerry Jones either because of that little photo he was in when he was younger. You know what I'm saying? When the schools are being integrated, he's sitting up there saying, just doing the most. Why them kids look scared? And the mob is all around them. So I don't like them. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. I don't care for them like that. I don't care for none of the owners like that. But I want the kids to go, the young men to go get this money, though. See, I'm the uncle you don't need to take around these big events. Because I'm not smiling in their face. In fact, I don't even want to go to the events. I don't want to go to the events or nothing like that around these people. They make my skin itch.
That's all. That's all I'm saying. All I know is all my life, the years that we have processed quarterbacks, watched quarterbacks, rated quarterbacks, I've never seen a quarterback rated like this, done like this.
Never.
So my mind has to say, what else is this? And the people that are involved and the people that are making the calls and the people that are working inside, you know what it is. And I have to say this, man, I just don't know how people put two prostitutes in the morning and start their day. Or even put head to pillow at night and get some rest. Well, you know, you just robbed this young man of $50 million. And it wasn't on his playing ability.
He ended there. He said, you just robbed him of $50 million. And it wasn't on his playing ability. It wasn't. They just wanted to get them back, yo. I don't think it was. They could have. dragged it out because of the, we're gonna drag it out because of the ratings and stuff. But he solo lost $50 million. They just didn't like what they represented, man. They ain't like nothing. They wanted to get back at. They wanted to humble him and his pops, man. That's what they wanted to do. You need to be humbled. They said that one time in a post game interview one time. Are you humbled by this? He said, humble for what? Like, what we gotta be humble for? Like, are you humbled? Yeah, they just want you humble. They want you to be humble and yeah. See, I know how to be humble. I know what to say to go get that money and rob them like Russell Wilson. I just want to sit up here and win a championship for the city of Pittsburgh. I want to do everything to win a championship. So what are you going to bring to? I'm going to bring everything to the table. I'm going to bring my ass to the table. Anything I need to the table. I want to just win a championship. I just want to get in the playbook. I just want to win a championship for this owner. Okay, this owner deserves a championship. Meanwhile, I'm cussing his ass out in my mind. Okay, lying. And meanwhile, okay, damn, he's really dedicated here to us. He's really dedicated. Let's give him the 200 million, 170 guaranteed. Once I sign that contract, I know it's guaranteed. I'll make it look good for 1 or 2 more years. And then all of a sudden I'll forget how to throw a fucking football. Okay? Like all these other players are struggling. You notice they get all that money and start struggling. Look at Deshaun. All them struggling. They get all that money. They ain't trying to win no more championships, man. Some of them had that mentality. A friend of mine told me that. He said, there's levels to football. Yeah, he said some people are gung ho. He said all they live and breathe is football. They just want to be a champion and all this stuff. They just want to be a champion of the world and all they got is football, right? And then you got some that are smart. Yeah, they'll play football. They love football, but they just want the money. Okay, just give me the money, man. And then you cut them, so be it. As long as they made as much money as they can make, and then they'll move on and do businesses and stuff like that, or doing it while they're in the league. They're not sitting up here trying to raise no funky ass Lombardi trophy. They want that trophy money. That's what he want. That's why I like all these college kids getting paid. That's right. I want them to get as much money as they possibly can, because they can start businesses and do whatever they want to do. I've been on one for the past 3 days, and this is it. This is my last commentary on this until the season start, because I'm gonna clown the Browns some more, because they can't start them right away. They can't. Yeah, but nothing is guaranteed. We just letting them know nothing. We're not promising him anything. Okay. We're not promising. You telling a Johnny Unitas Award winner and eighth up in the running for the Heisman Trophy that they ain't promising him anything. The fuck out of here, man. Yeah, when we looked at our board, when we saw Shedeur, it just made sense at that point to maximize the best available. Well, he was the best available when you picked Dylan Gabriel. He was the best available. Botsy boy. Let me get out of here, yo, before I say something really I don't want to say. Because I'm about to now. I'm about to start speaking patois and start really going off. But I'm not going to do that. We'll sit up here. We the best available. We just picked the best available. He was the best available when you picked Dylan Gabriel. The best available on our board. But we're not promising him anything. We're just going to wait. We're going to see the quarterback competition and see what happens. The best's going to come out of that. No, it's toxicity going to come out of that. I don't like this football, yo. I don't. No wonder I ain't been watching the NFL. I haven't been watching it. I'm not going to lie to you. I am not. When the last time I've been to Giant Stadium, yo? It's been years. You said now you have someone who wants to be legendary. Yeah, in the locker room. But they paid Deshaun Watson all that money though. Somebody told me he was hurt though. But he should be ready for the season, right? He was hurt last season. I know they didn't look happy. You said when you get your $1 million, you do what the hell you want to do. Well, no, I'll make it look good. I need more than 1 million. Like I said, I'll take that Russell Wilson contract. I'll play. You gotta play the game. You gotta know how the game is played and just play him. Russell Wilson did. When the last time he won a championship? He won. Well, actually, he did win a championship. He won it in Seattle. He did. He won a championship when the Legion of Boom was there. Yeah, he won a championship. So he got that under his belt. So he commands that money. So I'm not knocking him. You know what I'm saying? But like, look at Trevor Lawrence though. He got all kind of money. They just threw the Brinks truck at him. So yes, I will play the game. Yes, I'm trying every year. I say I'm just trying to win a championship. I'll work at my very best. I'm just trying. And trying to give it my all so I can get most of that contract. That's guaranteed. And then after that, I just retire. Like what's his name did from the Colts. He just retired on him. He's like, yeah, Andrew Luck. He's like, I'm done. Yeah, I just can't do this anymore. My heart's not in it. I know his heart's not in all that money he got. I know his heart not in it no more. Yeah, my heart's not in it, folks. I have to go on and do bitter. I'm still going to be around the game that I love. You got to make it look good because they're going to be pissed. We don't guarantee him all this damn money and he's sitting up here retiring. I love this organization. I love it. Shout out to Andrew Luck, man, for retiring on him. Megatron did the same thing. He retired early. But anyway, that's the latest. The NFL not going to do anything. They did their investigation and, the coach apologized, his son apologized, and that's it. That's it, man. You said they running some backdoor lottery, something. You said remind you the Hunger Games, yeah. So many people were trying. There's thousands of people trying to get drafted. They don't have enough slots. But shout out to the Colorado players though that they all got a Shane Coates. He went somewhere. He got invited somewhere. I forget where. Anybody remember where he got invited to? Shane Coates. Yeah, he got invited. He got invited somewhere. I want to say Seattle. I'm not sure. I mean, they lowered his income with that draft pick. So yeah, they all went somewhere. Everybody that wanted to get somewhere. Chidozie with the Texans. So a lot of people either got invites or signed. So now they just got to make the team, like Xavier did. Yeah, he went to the Texans. Chidozie. Um, yeah, everybody got like either an invitation or undrafted free agent status. Oh, he's not turning into 2026. Okay, so Deshaun Watson is out the picture right now. So you have Flacco. You got another quarterback there. You have Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel. There's at least one, two, three. There's at least four there. Five, I mean. Yeah, that Achilles situation ain't nothing to play with. Yeah, Kenny Pick, thank you. That's why I was waiting. Who was the other quarterback? Yeah, they have him there. So Shedeur gonna have to go in and just, as somehow he's gonna find his way on that field, just because of the fans. You know, he sell tickets and stuff. And then you know what somebody said the Giants said they didn't like his entourage. You know, with the cameras and stuff. They ain't like his entourage, man. Oh my God, he has a bad entourage. Oh my God, just his brother with the camera. Oh my God, he has a bad entourage. These people crazy. Yeah, Beast Mode retired early too. He never touched his NFL salary, just his endorsements. So he on paper he got a lot of money. He didn't need the game no more after that. And he won a championship, so he was done. At some point he is gonna be a starter. Because like I said, the fans he's popular. The fans gonna want to see him. Yeah, at some point he is. Just don't know which week though. It could become right away, just depending on how he do in camp. But even still, I still think they're gonna move him. You know, maybe after week 3 or something. Like they losing, they'll bring him in. If they're winning, they got a little bit of a cushion. You said they were getting too much attention on pro day. Yeah, they got a lot of players that got an opportunity in the NFL right now. I think my favorite one I saw his name called was Jimmy Horn. I was happy to hear his name get called, him and LeJontay. I was expecting Shedeur and Travis. I wasn't expecting this debacle, but I'm glad Jimmy and them got called. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back a little later. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back if there's some other news drop. You know it. All right, y'all.